Hi, everyone. This is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and I'm excited to be with you this evening. I've got a couple of questionnaires joining me. I've got two students of mine that are joining us right now, and they are going to be asking me the questions. So if you would like to join in and ask some questions, these may not be personal questions. These are kind of open to the public questions, things that you want to know about different issues, and you can join in the subjects that they're going to be talking about. It's going to be really fun. So we've got a couple of people jumping on. This is going to be a great night. Like I said, make sure that you jump in and say hi to us. I've got Alex and Tina on. We are having lots of fun this evening. And so let's see. We've got, hey, Miss Sandra, how are you doing? I've got a couple of people on Instagram. I've got a couple of people on live. So the other thing is I am going to be doing another Psychic 101 sometime in March. We will be doing the kickoff February 28th. If you're interested in joining in and joining that Psychic 101 class, make sure that you email me and I'll get you on the email list and I'll be sending those out. And so that'll be lots of fun and lots of interesting energy to work with. And it's really these two students that I will be talking to in just a couple of minutes. They have been through Psychic 101, Psychic 202, and they are ramping up for Psychic 303. And so I'm really excited about them joining us this evening. This is going to be a great night. Let's see. Okay, so Alex and Tina, y'all ready to jump on?
I'm ready.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
So if the live audience, if y'all have any questions about the subject that they're talking about, make sure that you join in and ask questions as well, okay? So, okay, Alex and Tina, what is your first question for me?
Okay, the first question is an icebreaker.
Okay.
And the question is, are clairvoyants affected by the weather and the changes in the weather?
Clairvoyance. They can be, it can be a little bit sensitive. I will say that actually clairvoyants are not usually too caught up in the weather as much. If you have sinus issues or something like that, your clairvoyant is your third eye. So if you have sinus issues, that can affect your clairvoyant a little bit. But I will tell you that the one that usually is really affected by the weather, that sort of thing, outside influences, is more your throat chakra more than anything else. And so that would be kind of like your being able to communicate with other people as well. And so that's the one that you're more likely to have issues with weather-wise.
Okay. That's very.
What else you got for me, guys?
We're staying on the topic of chakras.
Okay, on chakras?
Yes, I think Tina had questions regarding that.
Okay, Miss Tina, what's your questions?
So, regarding the chakras, how often would you recommend meditating to clear up those chakras?
I would. Okay, so if you weren't in a class and you weren't really working on your chakra energy, I
Mhm.
would say probably once every other month. If you are working on your chakras or you're trying to clear out your chakras or you're working in a class where you're really using that chakra energy, what I would say is probably once a week doing that chakra meditation. And it doesn't have to be a very long one. It's just something to kind of get them back in the perfect balance.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. The question.
Uh-huh.
What are some phrases or some things that we can say, like some good phrases we can say when we're meditating and we're working with our chakras?
So it would really depend on which chakra you were talking about. And because each chakra, the 7 chakras on your body, each have a different modality that they're working with. So like your root chakra would be about security. Your your sacral chakra is all about like creativity and adding things to your system. I would say your solar plexus is all about your communication with your higher energy, your angels and guides, your creator source of energy. Your heart chakra is all about love and divine love coming in and out. So it really depends on which one you're asking about. Is there one in particular, or you want me to just keep going on with that?
Well, I guess is there one that's the most important? I mean, I would wonder if it's our crown chakra or if it's our solar plexus. Which one do you feel is the most important?
Your root chakra is the most important.
Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely, hands down. Your root chakra is the most important chakra. If that one's closed, all the rest of them are open. Because remember, when we did in class, like that energy comes down your kundalini, down your spine, and then goes up through that root chakra. And if that's closed, all the other doors are closed.
Okay. Are there any phrases that we should be kind of linking in when we're meditating, or even when we're using our stones in meditation for the root chakra?
I would say your root chakra is all about security. One of the things I would say is always allowing your root chakra to like grow down. And I always think of like the roots of a tree, like not just like a teeny tiny tree, but like a huge tree with huge roots reaching down into Mother Earth and like linking you to Mother Earth for a period of time. And then think about like how secure you would feel in your mother's arms. You know what I'm saying? Or how secure you should feel in your mother's arms, of like surrounding you and encompassing you in that energy so that you can kind of feel secure. You know what I'm saying? Like if it wasn't your mom, maybe it was your grandmother, that when she gave you a hug, you just felt like, oh my gosh, everything bad has gone away. That's what you want to think about when you're opening up your root chakra, is like everything is okay. Everything is good.
Okay. That's really good. Another question is, which chakra fills up the fastest with junk and stuff that we don't need, or stuff that we would want to clean out?
I would say probably your throat chakra. And that's usually because we think we want to say something, but we hold ourselves back. So that would get like more clogged up with stuff. Kind of like, if your boss came in and said something mean to you, or, kind of like me, or someone came in and they were kind of like, they were having a bad night and they kind of said something kind of a little bit. And that's the one where you're like, I need to hang on to this. I need to catch that energy. And so that can stay really stuck in your throat chakra. And voicing it out or giving it a voice, like even just saying like, wow, that's really, what you said was really mean, or really, affected me in some way, to letting them know, like catch your attention, catch your kind of like to change what you're saying.
Okay. So if it fills up, and let's say it's filled up with stuff from over the years, how do you clear it? Do you have to go into a deep meditation to clear it?
You can do it in a deep meditation. You could also kind of align all your chakras and align that one as well. The stone that you got from the class that you're talking about for there, the name of the stone is Christacala, and Christacala is a very soft, easy energy, and it will actually help open up that your throat chakra. And it's a very easy energy. It's not going to be like all of a sudden you like got to get a whole bunch of stuff out, but it's going to really balance that energy.
Okay, that's good to know. Is there any chakra that's hard to clear?
No.
They're all pretty much easily.
I would say for most people, it's pretty easy to clear. It could be something that, because in your past you had something that closed your throat chakra, like you weren't allowed to say things as a child, or you didn't really feel like you could vision things or something like that. So you may clog it up faster, but all of them can be cleansed pretty easily. And like I said, depending on if you're in a class, I would say during that class time frame, you want to do it at least once a week. And then if you're not, probably once every other month.
Okay. I think that's really important. And then the last question about chakras is, how do your chakras come into play with progressions and regressions?
I would say, really, if you're having a problem in your, progressions are always, just so people know, progressions are moving forward in time. So if you're doing a progression to move forward in time and during that meditation to do that, you keep clearing your throat or keep coughing, it means that there's something clogged up in there, or you've got to make new choices. So that's a really important thing. If you go into a progression and you don't feel any visions, or you're not seeing it really clearly, that may be your third eye like clogged up again. So that may be telling you between now and that time frame that you're going forward into to keep this cleansed during this time frame. So you could put it on your calendar, like, I need to do it more often during this time frame. Past life regressions, because you're kind of going more into the past, it's something like can show you that, like, I've had a weakness in this chakra, or I've had a lot of like maybe your root chakra is really closed because you've had a lot of issues with security or feeling secure in the past. That would be something that I would kind of like, hey, I need to amp this up, or kind of do this a little more often than every other month. Maybe once a month, I'm going to clear out my chakras.
Are there any like physical, I don't want to say side effects, but your body feels once you've cleared your chakra? Like, I know you've said when you clear your heart chakra, you might feel a little bit of soreness in your chest.
Right. They can feel a little sore. I know some of them, when you're cleansing them, can be tingly, kind of in that area. As you clean them, can be a little tingly. But sometimes, especially if people are having like clairaudient issues, sometimes during a chakra cleanse, even though we're not really cleansing the ears, because we're cleansing everything in that area, your ears can pop. And that can really bring in a lot of, like, all of a sudden, like, wow, I wasn't hearing before in clairaudient, but now I really can. So, but they'll usually, like you're in a plane or something like that, they'll keep popping for a while.
Okay. That's good to know. That's the last question I have on chakras. Alex, do you have any on chakras?
I had one. What essential oils do you recommend for, let's say, any chakras that come to mind for you?
So I would say really it depends on each chakra. Has like a different one that I would open up to. I would say one that's a really good one, like a generic for all of them, is to use a sesame seed oil, like a generic, organic, you know what I'm saying, not flavored in any way or anything like that. That would be really well for all of them. And then you want to make sure that you're, you know what I'm saying, like when you're putting it on there, that you're rotating your hand or your fingers in that area. And I would say you would want to like rub in that area for at least a good 30 to 60 seconds. And you could do it as part of a cleansing, you know what I'm saying, as cleansing your chakras as well. So that could really open up that energy.
Okay, cleansing meditations, are those something that you recommend that people do every month or every other month? Just, I mean, I know we're saying this with the chakra, but are there any other ways, like in meditation, we need to be thinking about cleansing something, or is it just with our chakras?
I would say probably the one that I would recommend the most is probably like a healing rain or like a healing light meditation. And I would probably suggest that at least once a week or once every other week, and just do that as a light meditation. The ones I have on YouTube are probably like a good 5 to 10 minutes, something like that. So it's not a really long meditation, but to keep everything flowing, because as clairsensitives, we pick up so much energy from our everyday world. Right. Everything that we do in our world. We go to the gas station, we go to the grocery store, we go out shopping, we do other things. And when we're doing that, we're actually picking up other people's energy the whole time. And so it's really important to understand when you do that, you need to go home and cleanse. And part of that cleansing would be like once a week to kind of do that deep cleanse of like a healing rain or a healing light, of kind of like clear out everything that I've caught up that I haven't gotten rid of yet.
Okay. And would you follow that with like a salt shower or working with the salts in any way?
You could. It's one of those, it depends on, lately, I would say, because we've kind of been in this pandemic energy, so a lot of people have like a high stress energy, kind of like not really doing well, going through a lot of this. So I would make sure that during this time frame, until kind of things, and I hate to use the word go back to normal because it's never going to be back to normal, but when things get more calm, that would be when I would kind of relax on that a little bit more. But right now I would do both.
Okay. Well, that's all the questions I have for our chakras. So we're going to switch topics.
Okay.
The next topic is astro projection.
Okay.
And the question I have about astral projection is, can you control it? Is astral projecting something you can like set your mind to do, or is it random?
I would say, and if anybody on live has questions, please post them. We'll get to them when we finish on the topic. So if you have any questions about astral projection, we will get to those questions. Most of the time, I would say when you first start astral projecting, you have no controls. It's like sitting in a car with no steering wheel, no brake pedal. You know what I'm saying? Like all you have is gas. You know what I'm saying? Like all you can do is go faster. And so you may feel like you're out of control in it. Once you start to learn how to put controls in there and working with your angels and guides, that can really put more and more controls in that area so that you feel like you are more in control, and then you can direct yourself more often. And everybody has like a different way of dealing with astral projection. And that could be it's like some people get it really easily and other people don't. So it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just getting in control. And if you're having issues with that, I always suggest reaching out to your angels and guides for this.
Okay. So when you say, okay, so I guess you have to reach out to your angels and your guides, and then they'll give you an understanding of what you need to do in order to.
Right. And they kind of direct you where they want you to go. So that is something that you would, you know what I'm saying, like see, you know what I'm saying, like be able to see that at that point. Or if you wanted to take a time off. I had a client in his 70s. I think he's 75, and he has been astral projecting for years. And he goes, I literally feel like I've never gotten a good night's sleep in 75 years of living. And so I told him, I was like, well, tell your angels that you want a week off or whatever it is. And he literally called me the next morning in tears. He was like, that is the best night's sleep I've ever had in my entire life.
Wow.
Like, oh my, he didn't know he could control it. And so, thank you, Carmen. I think you should be my like person on this. She is on it. Astral projection. I misspelled the word. Okay, I fixed it. Carmen. So, astral projection is something that everybody can learn how to control. It just takes time.
Okay. That's good to know. Well, that's the only question I have. Alex, do you have any questions on astral projection?
I wanted to know if it was similar to a quantum jump or what the difference would be, or if you could explain that.
So astral projection is not the same as a quantum jump. They're completely different. Astral projection is like moving on the same plane or the same field that you're already in. It's moving you into a different area, kind of like we're shifting from Texas to Egypt or from Texas to California. We're like moving on the same plane. Astral projection is taking you like on the same planet sphere, kind of that in this field, you're still stuck. Quantum jump is more like when you're changing from like different levels. Does that make sense? Like you're going from like the third dimension to the fourth dimension to the fifth dimension. That would be more of a quantum jump. And you can learn how to do this.
Awesome. Would you involve portals when you're quantum jumping?
Not necessary.
Okay.
It's not necessary. So when you quantum jump and you go to different levels, do you stay at those levels that you go to? I mean, is it like a progression? You get higher and higher, you go to different levels, or is it just random?
It's not random. You can you can change where you're going. Your angels and guides will not let you go further. Like they kind of tether you, kind of like you can only go you can only move to a certain height before you get to there. But that's kind of the fun, interesting part is like to go to a different dimension and kind of learn something in that dimension can help you get there, but you can't stay there.
Oh, okay.
Iris on Instagram has a question, says, do you see dead in an astral projection? And no, you don't see, because they're not on the same field of vision that you're at. Not unless you went to a quantum jump, then you could see people that had passed. So that was the only question she had.
Is there like, are there lessons that you need to learn with quantum jumping? Is it, I know that astral projection has some purpose, like sometimes you're taken out to do something. Is quantum jumping similar to that?
Quantum jumping is more personal. It's more like when you astral project, they call it light workers, and you're literally going to places that on our planet that are having issues or having problems or could use your assistance, even if it's just to take you there to pray. So just kind of picking up the negative energy and working through that. So that's kind of like a little bit easier. But when you go on a quantum jump, you're jumping dimensions, and it's much harder.
You mentioned about asking your spiritual guides. If like a person finds it difficult to kind of understand what their spiritual guides are saying about astral projection, does that mean that they're not ready for that?
Probably so, but I would say most people have been astral projecting and not usually knowing that's what they're doing. They don't realize that's what they're doing. They just think that it's like, you know, saying like my friend who was my client that was 75 years old, he didn't realize that he could stop this. And he was like, whenever I watch TV in the evening, you know, wherever there's like a war zone or something bad has happened or something, he's like, I feel like I'm there. And that's astral projection.
Wow.
He never could explain it. He never could get it that way. I do have a question. I show it on the screen. This is from Jody. Is it seeing into the future considered astral projection or quantum jump or something else? It is absolutely completely different. Literally what you're doing in a progression is moving forward in this same timeline where you would be kind of like what I want to see, what I'm going to be doing in 6 months or a year or 3 years or 5 years down the road is moving forward in the same timeline and kind of what are the different possibilities that could come through. Astral projection is only in this time area, not moving time or anything else. When you go to a quantum jump, you are literally changing dimensions. You can see kind of like all your past lives. You can see what you were doing in past lives. You can kind of where are things going, where are things coming from. So that just adds a different perspective.
Awesome. Thank you for that information, Ruth.
No.
I did want to touch base with the 222
Okay,
for
hold on one
this
second.
month.
I've got a question on Instagram, and it says, from Kathy, what is the benefit to go to another dimension or astral projection? I would say kind of the number one thing to understand about going to a different dimension is it's going to give you a different perspective. It's kind of like, if you consider what we're going through right now is kind of like you're in kindergarten, it's like being able to go to college and kind of getting a different perspective of like, oh, wow, this is a whole brand new world that I'm looking at. That's kind of going in a quantum jump, just going up one dimension. If you go into astral projection, it's kind of like seeing things on our planet from different perspectives of kind of like, what are the people in Egypt going through, or what are the people in Africa going through, or Europe going through, that sort of thing. So it's kind of giving you on the same time frame a different look. Okay. So sorry about that, Alex. What was your next question?
Oh, we were just going to switch over to the topic of what energy we need to be aware of regarding the February 22nd of 2022.
So February 22nd, the 2 energy is all about jumping into your creativity and kind of opening up to what are all the possibilities. And so connecting that day, especially to the possibilities of where you want to be in a certain time frame, like what do I want to have accomplished in the next month or 6 months or year, kind of opening up to that possibilities. A lot of times once people see that the possibility is there, they're going to run at it and they're going to bring it in a lot faster. You're like, oh, I could have my own business and I could do this and that and the other thing. You're like, oh yeah, I could figure this out a lot faster instead of taking a year to do this. So that's kind of the crazy energy that people are dealing with on or will be dealing with February 22nd. But if you have not been doing your work, if you have not been cleansing your energy, doing your work, kind of getting rid of any barriers or blockages that you naturally have, it's not going to be a good day. If you had a good day on the 2nd, you'll probably have a good day on the 22nd. But it's one of those, it's like how much work you're doing or how much work you're willing to do in this.
I also read that Pluto's returning to the US on that day. Do you have any insight on that?
Pluto return is going to be something that's going to be with us for quite a while. And Pluto's return only happens every so many 200 and something years. I can't remember what it was, like 240 or 232 years. And it will be in, Pluto will be in the same sign it was back then. And the sign, like it's going into it, this 22nd, it will be in that energy for like a year, a little over 14 months, something like that. And I will say that is one of the interesting parts about it is that what happened last time Pluto was in this sign is we had the American Revolution. And so kind of anything is possible. And it's kind of interesting that like during this whole time frame, as we're kind of getting ready for that energy to come on the planet, we have people, protesting things. We have the truckers in Canada, stopping the lines, that sort of thing. And so it doesn't matter what your perspective is. If you like it, if you don't like it, it's to understand that people are asking for like this revolution in different manners, in different ways. Doesn't mean we have to go fight in the years. Carmen says 248 years. So that energy is changing and it's allowing things to come in and change very quickly, what is really what it is. Pluto is coming in to change energy very, very quickly. When this energy first came on the scene 248 years ago, prior to that, people were already talking about it, just like now. They were already protesting things. They were already, I don't want to say writing because they weren't necessarily writing, but they were talking about things, not feeling like their voices were being heard at that time. So as we move closer to that time frame, people are still going through that same energy of what do we need to do, or how do we need to deal with this? How do we need to work through this so that we feel like we have a voice again?
Do you think that the 22222 will affect our financial system?
I feel like it will in some interesting ways. I will tell you that one of the things that is really interesting is I do feel like as we get closer to that time frame and going into Pluto in return from that date moving forward, that things will go more into cryptocurrency for a period of time, and then it'll flip back to current currency, and then it'll flip back again. Like it'll move forward into it, back into it, and then forward again. That's kind of what usually the planets end up doing at some point.
What about opportunities for just the ordinary person to benefit financially? I know sometimes there's like a shift in an exchange of wealth. Do you see that as something being related to Pluto returning?
I think it will. I think that is one of the interesting things that that will be happening, and a shift of wealth. But that really comes in as you connect to that 222 energy of creating the wealth for you. Does that make sense? Not necessarily, let me
Yeah.
take the wealth from someone else and let me give it to somebody. It's one of those, it's like, oh, it's that easy to create this. One of the easiest things to create is money. So it's one of those, once you learn how to do it, it's kind of like, once you learn how to make a cake, it's easy to make a cake. It's learning how to do it or doing it right. That's what you need to learn. But once you learn how to do it, it's very easy to do.
Okay. I was just going to say something, and I totally forgot.
Do you want to pull any angel cards, Ruth?
Yeah, I have one question back on Instagram real quick. Kathy asked, how can I learn to go to different dimensions, and is this a danger? I would say going to different dimensions can be a danger if you don't understand how to do it. I would definitely find someone who's qualified to kind of guide you the first few times that you do it. When I teach like moving in progression or progression in class, my students do it with me a couple of times so they learn how to do it, and then they are taught to do it on their own at home. And so that's something to really keep in mind is going to other dimensions can be a little bit daunting at first, but once you've done it with someone who's been there, qualified how to do it, can take you to there easily. It makes it easier. But I would actually start with like past life regressions. I would work with progressions first, and then I would move into going into different dimensions. So that's my answer. Let me pull a couple of angel cards. And this is all about that 222 energy. The first one I pull is children. And this is all about kind of opening up to that childlike aspect. And kind of one of the things that I also get with this is really interesting is kids are always moving forward, and they're always telling you their truth. And I think that some of the things that a lot of people have not felt for a long time, government-wise or city-wise or even state-wise, that a lot of people don't have their voice. They're not allowed to get into that energy very easily, or it's like, fighting the big guy. You're not gonna win at City Hall kind of thing. You're not gonna get your voices heard. And so I think that's one of the big changes that we're gonna see coming up forward. Manifestation. This is Tina, this is what you were talking about. This is where money can shift and easily grow, but you have to allow it to, and you have to nurture it into it. A lot of people use words that kind of push money away from them and don't bring it towards them. So that's one of the things that if you talk to people that are always like, well, I need money, or I have to have money, or whatever it is, that's an interesting one. To me, I think interesting enough is when you talk about money in the right way. If you learn how to communicate with your money in the right way, money will continually come to you no matter what. Andy has a question. When do you see people getting away from division and separation and back to coming back together? I would say more than anything else, the separation is not a true separation. There is on some levels, but it's not to the extent that's being portrayed. So a lot of people are not having as many separations or divisions as people are claiming. And it's one of those, we are all the same in a lot of ways. And it's more of a cultural difference. Like, how do you deal with something compared to a different one? That is like making that energy kind of shift and change with you. And so that when you step out of your comfort zone and talk to other people, you're already breaking down those barriers. The more you talk to people, and I know Andy he's like me, never met a stranger, talk to everybody, all of that kind of stuff. And the more you break down those barriers, the more people understand that we're similar instead of different. Carmen is saying making money your friend. That is definitely the way. Money is very powerful, and you want to always have it as an ally. The last card I'm pulling is focus. There is a great focus on February 22nd about moving into healthier times, to get into more money, that sort of thing. So I will be doing a meditation on that day live here in the house. If you're interested, you can join in. You can find out all about my Celestial Meditation Club on my website at ruththeresa.com. But this is a really fun topic, and it's something that is really important, a current day event that's happening right now, that you can kind of learn how to check into that energy and move forward, and kind of use this as your leap into what's coming up next. Okay, guys, thank y'all so much for joining me tonight. I so apologize for going over, and I should be on live next week on the 10th. We will be talking about a couple of different things. I thank you so much for your questions. Y'all have an amazing night. Thank you.